Great to welcome to the Book Talk segment today, man. It's been a very interesting book about things that are going on in our colleges. It's a very interesting topic called Spy Schools, how the CIA, FBI, and foreign intelligence secretly exploit America's universities. And we're joined today by a Pulitzer Prize-winning author, Daniel Goldin, who won for his great series of articles in the Wall Street Journal on admission preferences at elite colleges, and of course that was the basis of his best-selling book, The Price of Admission. He joined us by telephone today. And Daniel, good to talk with you. How are you?
Wonderful. Great to talk to you as well, Doug.
I was especially interested in reading through the book, because I heard a little bit of this. I went to USF here in Sarasota and Tampa, and I heard a little bit about it, but I didn't really know the details of what went on there. I know there's more in the book about other colleges as well, but really USF had a big part in your book, didn't it?
It does have a big part in my book, and it's sort of the reason I did this book, because that was the first case I came across. And it involves a professor at USF named Dajin Pong, who was born and bred in China, and but is a U.S. citizen. And he had gone to a university in China that is sort of partly funded and overseen by China's intelligence ministry. And so when he came to the U.S., the FBI took an interest in him while he was in graduate school. And then he became a professor at USF, and he told the FBI, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And then at USF, he became the director of the Confucius Institute. And those institutes, China staffs and funds them on, campuses in the U.S. and all over the world. And they're of interest to Western intelligence agencies, too. So the FBI was doubly interested in Pong. And then he got in trouble at the university for some sort of transgressions, mainly financial finagling with expense accounts and the like. And he was suspended from his position as director of the Confucius Institute. And at that point, the FBI went to him, and they basically said, well, you've got a choice here. You can, be in deep trouble as a result of this wrongdoing and maybe end up losing your professorship and even going to prison, or you can keep your professorship and you can spy on China and the Confucius Institutes for us. And at one point later on, they even went so far as to ask the university to set up a branch in China as a base for his spying. So it's a fascinating story, and it led to my book, because I soon realized from talking to people it wasn't a one-off. This is is happening more often than anyone would expect.
Yeah, I know you did spent a lot of time in particularly our area, Tampa, and even Sarasota. I believe one of the college presidents has a house here, so you were down in this area quite a bit doing research on it, and thank you for it. I mean, it doesn't deter my being an alum of USF, but it kind of sheds some new light on what is going on there. I graduated there in '08, so it kind of was a little bit after that, I guess, what's happened, right? Or was it during that time?
Yeah. Well, I think it might have been starting up in that period.
Right.
But yes, I did visit quite a bit down there. It was, everybody was very hospitable, and the university was actually, the administration was very helpful. They provided some documents in response to public records requests that emails between the FBI and the university that were extremely useful for my research, and everybody there conducted themselves very professionally in terms of my research. But of course, this is kind of a fascinating episode, and there's one twist to it, which is you would think that Pong would be grateful to the FBI, because basically, in a way, they saved his job. The university was going to fire him for these various problems, and the FBI stepped in and said, "Don't do that," and they helped him. They helped him reduce it to a suspension. But he feels, and I go into this in the book, and it's I don't document it for certain, but there's some interesting possibilities that the FBI set him up. That these financial things that he got in trouble for would never have come to the surface without the FBI wanting to put pressure on him. And so, that's hard to prove one way or the other, but it's a, fascinating window.
It's kind of interesting just, reading through the book how it wasn't just, these other countries doing it to us, but we used the same leverage to spy on other countries by having students there, right? So it kind of worked both ways, didn't it?
That's right. It's definitely a two-way street, and that's kind of the point of my book. I mean, I'm a big admirer of John le Carré, who was kind enough to praise this book, called timely and shocking, and what I love about Le Carre's books is that, obviously he's British, but, English intelligence doesn't come off any better than Russian intelligence. They're both kind of manipulating people, and that's how I see it here. There's a lot of professors and students who get sucked in by both sides, either side, and, get pressured, or it's unwitting, or they're young and impressionable, they don't know any better, and they end up being victimized in some way. So I tell a bunch of those stories in my book.
Yeah, and the research being done at universities, very brilliant students, they may know their topic or whatever they're researching or develop products. You talk about one in the book, but maybe too naive to know who to trust, right? So that's kind of where the vulnerability comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, universities do an awful lot of research for the government, since for the military and the intelligence community, some of it quite sensitive, and foreign countries naturally have an interest in that, and sometimes they can get access to it. Sometimes it's potentially important to our security, but it hasn't been classified yet, and so it's open enough that foreign students can work on it. And I have one case of a Chinese graduate student who worked on invisibility research at Duke University,
right,
funded by the Pentagon to try and, cloak our weapons and so on, and, ends up bringing that research back to China, starting a competing institute in business, and, becoming a billionaire there. So, yeah, I think, there's implications here both for national security and for universities and academic freedom.
Do you think it's increasing? Is it decreasing? About the same? Or from what your research, Daniel, how is it today? I know this is kind of recent what you wrote about, but how is it in 2017?
Well, I think, it's been increasing for years because of the rapid pace of globalization, the proliferation of study abroad programs, which can be vulnerable to this, the rising number of foreign students on campus. And so I also think that the Trump administration may end up, sort of leading to more of this because, he's kind of so unpredictable and belligerent, that other country intelligence services, whether, hostile or allied, may definitely want to find out, what is he up to and what's going on. And they may try and find that out from, people in universities as well as elsewhere. And then, also, it's not an administration with a lot of concern for civil liberties, particularly the civil liberties of foreign students and professors. So, that's not going to hold back the CIA and FBI in any way, I don't think. So I see the potential for more.
Yeah, it's fascinating topic, like you said. Affected one of my alma maters. I went back to school there, so I wasn't in my 20s then, but still very interesting to know what happened at USF here in the Tampa Bay, Sarasota area. But like you said, you talk about Duke University and Harvard and some of the others as well. So good food for thought and a great topic. Again, the book is called Spy Schools, How the CIA, FBI, and Foreign Intelligence Secretly Exploit American Universities. Danny, do you have a website you want to give out? People get more information about the book?
Sure, they can, they could purchase it at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and then I have my own website, www.danlgolden.com. That's DANLGOLDEN, and I have on Twitter I'm at DanLGolden. So any of those places, of course, your local bookstore.
Great. I should have mentioned, too, you're also senior editor at ProPublica as well, so I want to get that out there. But, Daniel, pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we can do it again, and keep up the good work. Thanks for being with us today.
I'd love to. Great chatting with you, too. Thanks.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.com.